Hello and welcome to the 6th video in this series on natural language processing in Python with NLTK. In the last video we touched upon Wordnet and Synsets. Let's take a deeper dive into Synsets. It takes a little bit of time to get used to syntaxes and working with them. So this video will go a little more into it, and it takes a little bit of time to get, so we'll take our time and make sure we get the concepts behind them so we can start doing more and more useful things. So let's get started. Okay. So again, we go from NLTK.corpus, import Wordnet as WN. So we looked at meditation and the synsets associated with it. That's a pretty specific category of study. So let's look at the word study, because from face value it's a simpler word and it's going to have more words associated with it, because in some sense it's a more general category of learning or teaching, incorporating new ideas. So let's go. I'll call Synset study, and I'll caveat it with Synset just so I know what kind of information it is. It gets a little trickier as we go on, so I like to be specific. So wn.synsets, and we pass the literal word. Literal meaning two quotes. It's not a variable. Study. And let's see what it returns. Okay, and I'll copy that. Save time in the long run. So we get a lot more results than we did with meditation. We get survey, study, the second use noun, report, study, and so on and so on. So there's a lot of different uses of study itself, and in addition, synonym set, right, Synset, gives us other words like cognition, learn, words that you would associate with study or the act of studying, the results of studying, and this gives us a greater context. So if we didn't know what studying was, or we wanted to get a better background of what studying is, we could go ahead and write a for loop to iterate through some of these words and start to put together meaning of it in different contexts to get a kind of aggregated definition. So let's go ahead and do that. So how would we do that? We would write a for loop. So say for I in range, and I'm going to specify, I'll go the first 5 synsets in this list. Okay, and I'll go synset study, an index of 1. So remember, this is a list of synset. There's multiple of them. So if I want to iterate through to get a greater context, I need to select the values at each index. So the first 5 would be survey, study, 2, report, study, and so on. And I'll call this study. I'll assign that variable, and if I want to print out some definitions, I can do study dot definition, and For formatting, I'll print out, actually I'll keep that as is and away so we can see which one we're actually printing out. I'll print out study first, which will be the Synset printed out, and then the definition afterwards. Okay, so we return, and that loop was successful. So we have the first instance of study is survey, a detailed critical inspection. Next is study. It's a noun, and it's the second in the Wordnet. Second instance of that, applying the mind and learning and understanding a subject, especially by reading. We have report, which is writing, things you learn, findings from a group. Deep state of mental absorption, and here's another instance of a noun of study. So, as in being a place, an actual place, as opposed to an idea of studying. So this is where things can get tricky when you're interpreting text. How are we supposed to know studying as a concept versus studying as a place? A study, like a lab or a reading room. So that's where the trick is of natural language processing, is to be able to get text, and from surrounding words and context, we can try to interpret this through code. Another thing to note here is we touched upon the Synsets syntax. There's 3 items. There's the word itself, the part of speech, noun, and the number that is its occurrence in the Wordnet. So here we have study as a noun and report's a noun, but there's also study as a verb, like here, and that's the third one in the net, and there's a couple others. So here we can see that more specific words are not going to be generally, like when we looked in the previous video, we had meditation, which is a concept that's relatively specific, and here we have study, which is more general and can have multiple meanings in a certain context. And we can iterate through creating a loop like this, and select each Synset, which is a singular, and pull out information about it, which is pretty neat. And we'll conclude with that. So this video served to take another look at Synsets, because it's important to get these fundamental distinctions between Synsets, which is a set of Synset, and it's even hard to say, and the fact that we need to, when we're using methods for analysis, we're really referencing a singular Synset, and we get a word, a part of speech, and the number of that occurrence within the Wordnet. Okay, and I'll wrap it up from here, and thank you for watching this video. I hope you're having a great day, and stay tuned for more content. And the next video will be diving more into the Synsets and methods that we can use within it. So thanks again, and have a great day.